Hi everybody, my name is Giselle Kowalski and I'm the digital content producer here at Texas State University. You're listening to Office Hours and today I'm here with Avery. Avery, what's up?
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. So you got to talk to Tom May, who is actually your dad. And so that conversation was really cool to listen to. But what did you learn? Did you learn anything new about him?
It was really cool. It was interesting to see my dad from a different perspective, especially knowing that he's a professor and I've grown up like knowing him as that, and then being a student and not just his daughter anymore. It was really cool.
Yeah, the perspective between both you and him, also having been Texas State students, was interesting too because the university has changed so much.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so we hope you enjoy this conversation between Avery and her dad, who is also a professor, Tom May.
I know you're my dad, but what's your name and your title here at Texas State?
My name is Tom May, and my title is Professor of Instruction at the School of Art and Design.
What do you teach?
I teach ceramics. I've also taught sculpture and 3D design.
Cool. How long have you worked at Texas State?
I've been working at Texas State since 1988 as a student worker first. In 2003, I was a non-regular, non-permanent woodshop tech. And somewhere along 2007, I was an adjunct teacher and then a full-time instructor for ceramics. And now I've got my current position. I've seen the university grow.
Yeah, for sure. So I know you said you were a student worker, so I guess that kind of leads into what's your educational background?
So I graduated from high school in 1978, and I took a long period of just working. And then somewhere along 1985, I decided to start taking some classes because I wanted to do geology. I was taking classes and working at the same time and fell in love with ceramics somewhere there. And I also did my graduate studies at UTSA.
I didn't know that you were doing geology. That's cool. So it just kind of led you into ceramics.
They have kinship.
So what did you do before teaching? You said you had a long work break.
So when I moved to Austin, I was working in retail. In the malls in Austin, I heard of some t-shirt shops that were up for sale. So a partner and I bought several t-shirt shops, and we ran t-shirt shops in Austin for about 5 years. We sold the t-shirt shops, and then I got involved with robotics, and I had a knack for designing, solving problems with the robotics. So I designed mechanical functions for the robot until I started taking classes full time here at Texas State.
That's so cool. I didn't know that. What year was that?
I started working on the robots in 1991, and by 1999, I was doing it on my own, but I was also a full-time student at that point.
Interesting. That's so cool. What led you to pursue a career in teaching ceramics?
Kids.
Just us.
Yes, you guys. I was married, and I was being the full-time artist for a while, and it would take me to lots of shows. I would work late at night. While your mom was working, I would watch you guys during the day, but I was gone almost every weekend. And it got difficult for both your mom and I to be able to spend good time with you guys. Mm-hmm. That's when I started doing more of the non-regular, non-permanent positions here at the university. I was still being creative, but I wasn't necessarily making as much work. I still did some shows, but not as much. So it was more of a convenience thing. I started teaching primarily because the thought was, oh, you're going to have summers off, so you can take care of the kids.
Yeah,
that was the thought process.
That makes sense. So what did being an artist, like creating work, what did that entail?
Well, there was a lot of things I didn't know when I finished. When you're an artist, you have to come up with all these ideas, and you have to kind of project the future and think of what is somebody going to want later. So I would make a lot of goods. I experimented a lot. I didn't want to be a traditional potter. I didn't want to make cups and bowls and plates. I made more sculptural items. I made more things that were meant to be art that's hung on the wall, but using clay as a material instead of using steel or paper or things like that.
That's really cool. So did you face any challenges in your career teaching or creating art?
I think being a teacher, first and foremost, is challenging because every semester you're getting a new group of people So you're learning about this class, and there's a dynamic that happens with each semester that's a little bit different. In art, just trying to figure out what's the next best thing has always been an issue.
Yeah, it's always changing and evolving. I feel like you have to stay on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you find the most rewarding about being a professor?
Man, there's a moment when I'm explaining or doing something with a student and that light bulb goes off on their head and they get so excited, and that's very exciting for me.
I can feel that being in the student's position there and being like, oh my gosh, I finally understand.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the most rewarding thing.
Can you tell me about a personal project that was particularly meaningful to you?
A few years ago, we did some tiles for the university that are currently in what used to be called the Pace Center with somebody who taught me, Michelle Conroy. And that collaboration, that ability to do something that's got some longevity to it, and they're still hanging there, that is really important to me.
I remember that project, I think. I remember going to see the tiles after they were put up.
Oh, yeah, it was reminiscent of the show days because I was gone a lot making those tiles.
That's so...
Your mom remembers it really well, too.
Oh, that kind of leads me into, how do you balance teaching with your personal projects?
I don't. The truth be told, my primary job as an instructor or professor of instruction is to teach. Whereas faculty members, their job is to teach, yes, but to also enrich the university on a more creative level. I do still I'm not as productive. I have lots of ideas and I look forward to retirement so I can create those ideas. But right now I just mostly tinker.
Yeah, speaking of retirement, I know that's probably coming up in the next couple of years. What do you plan on doing when you're no longer teaching?
Well, I hope to be making something. I hope to be fishing somewhere. Maybe I'm a little afraid that it's too close. I don't feel like I'm ready to give up yet.
I don't think it's giving up, just moving on.
Yeah, some people are really eager for it, but I just wonder.
I think you and I are similar in our hesitance for change.
Yes.
And I know that you've been here for a long time, so it's a big change, but I think it'll be a good one. Looking back on your career, is there anything that you would have done differently?
I don't know necessarily differently, but maybe I would have had a little more fun sometimes, not been so serious.
Yeah, that makes sense. What impact do you hope to leave through your work as a professor?
Well, I think I'm starting to see it. I went to the Texas Clay Festival this weekend, and 5 of my students are now professional artists. They were showing at this show that is for some of the best ceramic artists in the state of Texas, and it was really nice to see them there with their booths, making a living doing what they had trained to do.
Yeah, that is really cool. I'm sure it was cool for them to see you also.
Yes, lots of hugs. That's why I have this cold now.
So, I mean, as you know, I'm planning on graduating hopefully in the next semester. Is there any advice that you might have for me as your daughter and as a student, just going forward and pursuing a career?
So, Avery, just like I just said for myself, just enjoy your time. You've worked so hard to get this degree, but it doesn't mean that you have to jump right into the workforce and make a lot of money, because that's not what it's all about. And, now I can say that because we're in better shape than we were 20 years ago. You're going to have the great fortune of leaving here with not too much debt.
Yeah, it'll definitely make things easier, I think, going into the real world. So I know that you attended Texas State University. Watching me, going through my university experience, how would you feel like it compares to your experience as a student at Texas State?
It's very different. And oh my gosh, you're so studious. I was never that way. I worked full time and was a student part-time. So in those terms, I just was really slow at getting through my classes. I was fortunate enough to attend school when the state didn't regulate how many hours you had to have. So I got to take all the classes I ever wanted. And I left here with a lot of hours. I was able to take classes after classes after classes. I started with geology and geography, and I took a ton of classes there. And to break it up, I took some art classes, and I fell in love with the art classes.
Yeah, that does feel very different, because I feel like going into university now, at least my experience was I have to know what I want to do so I don't waste my money and waste my time.
Yes, and you also had a mother who was an academic advisor, and she was very thorough about telling you, You only need this one, this one, this one. You want to get in and out.
I think it was nice having both sides of the spectrum. One side telling me these are the classes that you need to take to get you through, and then also the other side that's like, yeah, but you can also take scuba diving if you want to.
That's right. I think if you asked her that same question, she may also say that she kind of wandered back and forth a little bit. You know, the other thing is this room, this building, was the library when I was here. So whenever I come to JCK, it's a little reminiscent of those days.
That's so funny. I remember seeing a picture of whenever they transferred all the books from here to Alkek, and it was just a long line of students passing books.
And that's what we did. They sent out an announcement, and we all stood in a line, and everybody passed a stack of books.
That's so cool. That's so cool. It's interesting to be able to be in the room with somebody who has seen the university through so many years and so many different presidents and deans and all of that. What has been kind of your observation seeing the university become what it is now compared to whenever you were a student?
Well, in some ways it's sad. You can look at the university and San Marcos in the same way. San Marcos today is very similar to what Austin was in the early 1980s. So I like the charm of San Marcos, but I miss the days when you could go to the river and there was nobody there. That being said, I like the days when West Campus didn't exist. That was still the academy. Southwest Texas State was just this little small campus, but it was up on a hill and it was beautiful.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking to me about this. It was really cool to kind of hear about your experiences as my dad also, because there's a lot that I don't know.
Well, thank you for having me. And yeah, unless we're forced to talk about some of this stuff, we don't ever, I mean, it's not in the moment, right?
Yeah.
You hear a lot of, I remember back when.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've said many times throughout my university experience, it feels like I'm coming full circle, working here and knowing that Mom used to work in this building, or going to visit you on campus and being like, I'm the same age as these students that I would see whenever I came in when I was sick and had to go with my dad to work. So it's really cool. So thank you so much, Dad.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Office Hours. We hope you enjoyed this conversation, and make sure to tune in next time to learn more about the experiences of our amazing Texas State faculty. Also, remember to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at TXST. This podcast is a production of the Division of Marketing and Communications at Texas State University. Podcasts appearing on the Texas State University Network represent the views of the host and the guest, not of Texas State University. Once again, I'm Annabelle, and I'll see you next time.